Our first session of the afternoon is Voices of the Future. During the 2023 referendum, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island leaders Australia-wide were joined by a younger generation who stepped in to assist and learn and to drive the push for a voice to the nation in the nation's founding document. Like past generations, the challenge of the times drew out new thinking and new leadership. This panel discussion includes both the past and the future, with established advocates joining a next generation in looking for pathways to a better Australia. On the panel today, we have Rarrtjiwuy Mel Herdman. She is a Yolngu woman from northeast Arnhem land, a woman from the Gulkula clan. Rarrtjiwuy has worked for over a decade in health and is currently the chairperson of Me Watch Health. Gulkula is also the founder of Yothuyindifoundation, set up to empower Yolngu people through our deep connections to family and country. Also joining on the panel today is Bettina Danganbarr. She is a Jambarpoingo woman from Gulkula. She is a senior ACPO police officer, highly respected in her community, and a founder of the Gulkula Women's Space. Bettina, starting with you, you have recently been awarded an Order of Australia for service as a senior police ACPO and for founding the Gulkula Women's Space in support of women and girls in your community who are suffering family and domestic violence. First of all, can we just congratulate her on this incredible honour? Could you please tell us a little bit about the work you do in Gulkula?
Thank you, Mani. Kulolo bukmak ka ngarakapuk korupan na malay ngunit na mamarikin ralin mato butur bitun linya lang bilijan ko daw. Welcome everyone. I just want to say thank you that you've all come to hear our stories today. My name is Bettina Danganbarr, and I come from Gulkula community, as you heard. My story begins from Gulkula as a senior Aboriginal community police officer. I've been in the role for 17 years now, and I've mostly serviced my community, Gulkula, and it was there that I really stepped into the leadership role, and the work with the police has helped me also to be in this position and empowered me how I can be of better service for my people, the Yolngu people of Gulkula, and also surrounding areas. We created a safe space for women and children in Gulkula who are experiencing domestic and family violence. The service we offer is Goroto-centered case management, crisis accommodation, and outreach support for women and their families. Goroto is very important in our service. And this is how with using the Goroto, it empowers us to help our people in a way that we use our own cultural knowledge, our cultural background, so we can do it our way, the Yolngu way of doing. And it's a unique space and service, and the work we do at Women's Space reflects of who we are as a person in our community and where we are using our cultural practices.
As a younger person now stepping into a leadership role, Gulkula, how important is that role and how hard has it been to step in that leadership role in Galewinko?
With me, it has been very challenging because to get to where I am now, I had to prove myself to my community and my people and my elders that, I can be that person, be that next person, a Yolngu person, especially a Yolngu woman, to step into this role. It has been challenging because of I'm a woman. But when you are working in two worlds, using both worlds, Balandaka Yolngu, and you are working and empowering your own people, it gave me strength and determination, and also encouraged me to be that person, to make my leadership a positive one, that I can empower other women to step up in this role. Yeah.
Gulkula Mel, it'd be great if you could maybe tell us about the work of the Rarrtjiwuy Foundation and why you established it. What was your inspiration?
My inspiration for establishing the Rarrtjiwuy Foundation was based on yothuyindi, a responsibility between a mother and child, and that gurutto that Bettina has been talking about. Gurutto is essential to yothuyindi, to the way of living, but also to our leadership in our region. And my concern and my worry was about the elders passing away. As you would know, our elders here are passing away too young, and they're passing away from preventable diseases. It's not easy to work in the Balanda space and be called a leader, knowing that you have so much more to learn from your leaders. And like Bettina has been talking about, the leadership role is very important, and it's one that is not taken lightly when you are asked or when you are acknowledged when you step into these roles. And so my vision and for this organization that I've implemented is to create the space, like my logo, the Jilaur, orange-footed scrub fowl, creating a clear space for young people to go into, people like myself, to show our elders that we're ready for the challenge, ready to be taken into the space of growing into tomorrow and the future leaders, but also to show them that we know how hard they've worked to take us to where we are now. So in remembering what the theme of this year's Garma, that work coming through definitely represents those elders and leaders that have come before us, acknowledging that there needs to be new growth, and we can't do that without them. So my organization is about that, establishing a place where we all can be working together for now and into the future.
Many Yolngu people talk about the difficulties of working with government. Do you feel that the government system is working for Yolngu?
I'd love to just say one yes or no. But
Go ahead.
yes, but depending on where you work, your community, your voice, the leadership you have standing beside you, the louder you are, the more you get heard. But the government system is not like our Guruttu system. It's Guruttu Nara or Guruttu Muru, it's another dialect. It doesn't have Guruttu. It doesn't have a sense of responsibility, accountability and respect. Not for us, but for their own system. Their systems are fragmented. They work in silos. And sometimes, maybe all the time, I don't know, they don't talk to each other. So we get funded, from every stream. And sometimes the Garma is similar, sometimes the funding's similar, which is great. And sometimes they listen to us what we want, but then there's all these different layers of where our funding comes from, the guidelines that, put forward, and the type of initiatives that they support. If they could listen to us about our Guruttu system and understand how we have successfully been living and working as Yolngu people, that system might get better. So when we talk about renewal, when we talk about regrowth, people in power, people who work in systems that are mainly Balanda systems, need to listen and understand the way that we operate in our Guruttu system. The Guruttu system is very interconnected. It's never alone and it's never a solo journey. It works for us and has worked for us for eternity. Never changed. When a Yolngu child is born, you're born into a Guruttu system. And as you grow up, you are taught your place in your community, in your family, and how, when you are needed, without asking, you contribute. That's the beauty of our Guruttu system. When you're told, that's when you're in trouble. So going back to how difficult it is working with government systems, government funding, government reporting, government whatever, it's very hard. But I've been able to live and work in a very Yolngu and Balanda environment that's very supportive of how I see and how I understand and use my knowledge to navigate a complex system. But it's very, very hard for all of us to be working together for a better future if the system itself isn't working.
You're talking about the Guruttu system and kinship and the connectivity between us all and each other, and you work so closely with our elders as well as our young people. How do you think the old people who have grown up in the Guruttu system deal with the government system and the requirements? And how do you think we can find a way in the future to help our younger people navigate these systems?
I don't know how many of you in the audience or watching were here for the previous panel discussions where the elders who've been working in education forever, they talked about the importance of teaching kids and them learning in a bilingual education and being allowed to speak their language and learn in their language, learn in Yolngu, but also learn in Balanda. For our elders, some people think they don't understand or don't have a story that aligns with the Balanda way of looking at things. Because Balanda, again, don't listen. So our elders, they know what they want for our community. You've heard it over and over again. How many Garmas, they get up on this stage and they talk about what they want for their future, what they want now, what needs to change, and what their successes are. No one listens to them. When it comes to talking to them about Balanda systems, yes, there is difficulty because the Balanda language is not one language. It's multiple languages, and people use sophisticated terms and make all these pretty pictures that don't really talk to what they're trying to tell us about. And so as a young person, whether it's sitting in the community talking to family about changes that might be coming, or sitting in a boardroom talking about papers, again, that have to align with a government or a Balanda system around governance, it is important that language, both languages, especially Yolngu, is present. My board meetings, I can tell you, I chair my meetings, but I also run meetings to my Yolngu board in the Yothuyindifoundation Foundation in Yolngu. There is probably a few English words that I drop, and that's because of whatever's written in the Constitution. Our rule book, our Constitution, not the bigger Constitution. Well, that would take a few years. But the importance is that you have to recognize if you're talking to Yolngu people and you want Yolngu people to be on board, then talk in Yolngu Mata, or find someone to talk in Yolngu Mata for you. It's important that we communicate in Yolngu because we comprehend in Yolngu. We think in Yolngu. Our discussions, our deep conversations that we have about our successes and challenges in our community are in Yolngu. They're never in English. The only time it's in English is when we're sitting in front of Balanda people. So that's why it's important to understand and acknowledge that Yolngu Daruk, Yolngu Mata, has a primary space in meetings, whether it's informal, formal, or anything, especially when it comes to our elders.
Bettina, we all know that Yolngu strongly supported the referendum, but we also know that it failed. How do you feel, and how do your elders feel back at Gulkula about the failure of the referendum?
Ni mani ngarenga na kundwali nama limurja dan jayul ngun bapuru ngayang limurung mulka kadal ka mariki limuli nakun nguni balanya kurgumur dal kur abundi limuli nguni ngayang ngamangamayon mirunguluk balayut tau dukkargo. Bien, so we as Yolngu people, we've always been strong, resilient. We show or demonstrate that nguni nakon resilience by not letting anything or any obstacle to bring us down or stop our movement. Marikinyang nakon. We always move forward. But raida limurtu marangitir nakon. Learn from it and make it better the second round. Marangitir irbaraka mariki. Keep moving. We always was, ka always is, ka always will be Yolngu. Because ngalit jalang uni gurta uni ngalili na kundangal kum ngatil ngalapal miridangal kungal kaduali murbara kadangal kum, it never dies. Apalanya what our ancestors, when they lit the fire, it still burns. Ka tiang unakun ngay ka neuyu tual nguni team ngai this year ne ku Garma limurtu kurta dangal kumna kun worko. It shows us that, you know, let us rekindle that fire and let that fire burn for a new growth. But we need rain. Rain kun nyali jal ngai tu dari un jangon ni guru mur jali jalang. Nyari un jang itu balang itu nguru ninja yutan taman tuna. So when we have the fire, we need the rain to cool the earth. That's when the new growth forms again, for a new hope of moving forward. Yeah.
And last question for you, Mel. It's a big one. It'll be wonderful to hear about what are your feelings about the result in the referendum of 14th of October, but also what are your plans for the future now, and what is next on your journey?
In my head, I just have a where to next. That's my attitude, because you can't change something you don't have control over, and we can't control what people vote. So we have to have that sense of keep going with our Garma that we're doing. So let that happen on the side. Whatever the outcome is, we'll keep doing the Garma. Because when you're sitting in a remote place and there's lots of conversations happening, you don't have control of where that conversation's going to go. So where to next is, I think, seeing what our contribution to our community is and following through with that and making sure that we celebrate the successes of our people and keep talking about that.
Bettina, what about you? What are your plans for the future now, and where and what is next on your journey?
I want to be able to build more of me in others. So I want to empower, young people, especially young women, and to be able to show my qualities in me and give it to someone else so they can keep that legacy going, because I got everything from my elders, and what I am now is because of them. So I want to be able to share what I learned and make more of myself in others so they can help our people in the future.
Next year, our action will be that we won't be sitting here now to make that regrowth through this work. We'll make sure that next year we're mentoring the new people.
And so on that
here.
note, what is your message to our young people?
Well,
Because I think, I think that's like, this is what Garma, this is the quintessence of Garma. It's renewal, it's regeneration, it's regrowth, it's new life. What's your message for our young people so that they can be sitting up here next year?
Because there's not a lot of young people, you will have to go and find young people to pass this message on.
Yeah, my man.
You will. What's their purpose? What is the purpose for our young ones? Because everyone has their own purpose. So we need to really encourage them to start thinking about that. Where do they fit into the bigger picture of our society? Contribute their skills, knowledge, strength in a space that they're passionate about. Because only when you find that purpose, you'll have meaning to contribute to both your identity, who you are, and your jalkri, your foundation, but also your foundation in the Balanda world. That's my message to young people. Message.
Malabalam.
Nek kung are kajaltiri. Limur dal yul ngumala limur tu kung ka unmira iben ka ngayang wi main maktu ka kung ka unmiri ka ngayang rana miri nguruk palang una nang kalit jalang kumur dal marikki ngalinduling kundur pu erkerton kaninna ngalidara ka rambangi marikki ka rambangi jama balandawal kung tu mar mai ngatan mir ka marikki. Yo.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in thanking these two incredible, powerful leaders of the future.